Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
We're into week 3 of weekly Ranma. Without further ado, we're going to get into the third episode of the Ranma 1/2 remake. So this episode is covering the story points that were spread out between episodes 4 and 5 of the original series. Hello, this is Editor Steve stepping in for a second. We recorded the episode before I had pulled all the images. Doing so, I discovered that this episode actually covers 3 episodes worth of the old series. Covers episodes 4, 5, and 6. So, sorry about the mistake there. Anyways, back into the normal podcast, where we're dealing with Ranma coming to terms with Kuno's affection for him in girl-type form, at which point Kuno leans heavily into his obsession with both the pigtailed girl, as he calls her, and Akane equally. Nabiki leans into it herself and begins selling candid photographs of both girls to Kuno to fund whatever it is she needs to fund.
High stakes blackjack.
High stakes blackjack. Maybe, yeah. She might be. Though she'd be the one running the table.
Exactly.
She would be the house, and she would always win.
Yeah, but they still need to pay out. Still need to have money to pay out on accident.
Fair.
You can't win all the time, else nobody will gamble.
This is true. There are rules to how you run a casino. We get a segment where Ranma is pretty much fighting Kuno, essentially, to preserve Akane's integrity once he realizes what Kuno is doing. It's more of a development of the closeness between Akane and Ranma than anything else. It's kind of giving them reason to maybe look at the other person more openly and organically become closer to maybe trying to fulfill their parents' desires of them getting married. On top of this, we get a series of interactions with Dr. Tofu as Akane continues to put Ranma in various painful body situations that Tofu, being a seasoned chiropractor, can undo. We pivot quickly from Akane, having a schoolgirl crush on Dr. Tofu, to her realizing that she's never going to beat the girl that Dr. Tofu is insanely in love with, being her oldest sister, Kasumi. Kasumi is very oblivious to Dr. Tofu's affection to her because whenever she's around him, he's out of his mind with anticipation. Yeah, like he can't focus. He's just so overwhelmed with joy and nervousness because of how strongly he feels for her. To the point where, as this is demonstrated to us, he essentially puts Ranma into a more dire situation than Akane has been able to put him into, only because he's just blinded by his love for Kasumi. There is a moment before this that I forgot to bring up when Dr. Tofu is first correcting what Akane has done to Ranma, where he tries to encourage Ranma to be kinder to Akane and accept her for being a more well-rounded and caring human being. And as he sends him on his way, he kind of does a ninja tap on him and causes his spine to pretty much cut off, feeling to his legs as they're on their way home. Akane has to piggyback carry Ranma back home, but Ranma, being a stubborn man, refuses to do it, because it would make him look weak. So Akane splashes him with water and is like, well, if you're a girl, you can't complain about it.
Turns into girl type.
And so Ranma has this moment of she isn't just this brutish, angry girl, she's actually somebody who's compassionate and cares. So he sees now what everybody's been trying to tell him. Yeah, this episode it establishes Kuno being a philanderer.
Big time. Nabiki being a venture capitalist.
Yeah, Nabiki being a venture capitalist. Ranma's father, Genma, decides that he's going to get a part-time job and becomes a receptionist for Dr. Tofu, but only works for Dr. Tofu while in panda form, which Dr. Tofu accepts for whatever reason.
I also love that he has all these signs.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's been a little annoying with how quickly we're moving through the story compared to how it was in the original anime, is we have not seen a lot of these in-between moments with the other characters, particularly a lot of stuff with Ranma's dad. when Ranma's dad is in panda form, he can't talk. So his tradition is he just holds up signs where he writes shit on to be part of the conversation. It's a long-running gag within the series, and we'll see it more as it progresses that he just keeps doing this. Another thing that they did, which I really appreciated, that I need to... It went by so fast I couldn't even see it. In the original series, particularly in the OAVs, there were a lot of hidden eye-catch images, particularly during moments where there was a flash from like physical, like a punch or something, that were always hidden Easter egg jokes. And there was a portion in this episode where that happened, but it was like it had to have been a single frame because I just noticed it and I couldn't tell what it was. So I need to go back and go through it frame by frame and see what it was. But I'm glad that they brought it back because I've been thinking about if they're going to do that or not. Because that was kind of an integral thing that the series had done. So that was nice to see that. Yeah, I had completely forgotten about this story arc. I thought it had come later, but I don't know why I had thought that. Because I seriously thought we were going to get Ryoga in this episode. But this is a lot of setup for a thing that Ryoga's showing up as a catalyst for, relating to Akane and her schoolgirl crush on Dr. Tofu. That will come to a head with the resolution of Ryoga showing up. I don't want to spoil anything, because it is a fantastic and pivotal moment within the show, or at least in my mind it is. So, yeah, I can't wait for next episode when we finally get Ryoga. What are your thoughts now? I mean, you've never seen this before. I showed you a couple of segments of the original one in comparison too, because there was the whole dream sequence where Ranma had the nightmare in the beginning of the episode of Kuno confessing his love to him.
I just think the show's funny. Like it's comedic. It's I don't feel like there's this huge deep story to it. It's just guy, girl, will they, won't they?
That's essentially, yeah, that's pretty much the crux of it, is the what will it take.
It's a lot of slapstick comedy.
Yes.
That's about it.
It's what will it take for these two stubborn individuals to admit their feelings for each other honestly.
It's very entertaining. I think it's really funny. I'm glad that it didn't take 2 episodes to resolve that whole episode.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would be too much.
It is kind of too much thinking about it now, even though we had missed out on some of the side stuff, but I mean, they hit all of the beats that needed to be hit, so we're not necessarily missing out.
I like that they're condensing down the story.
I figured they were going to, especially given with how Urusei Yatsura had been condensed. They haven't necessarily cut anything out of the original broadcast at this point. Not any of the main plot threads.
Yeah.
They've just cut out asides. In the scheme of things, inconsequential asides.
That are inconsequential to the dark side of the Force.
The problem with that, though, is it helps you to get a better feel for the secondary characters, which we're not getting. You have no idea what Kasumi is like. You have no idea what Akane's father is like. You don't have that much of an idea of what Ranma's father is like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the things that we're losing out on by some of these asides being extricated.
I mean, I think we'll get that stuff. Not the stuff that's being cut out, but these ideas eventually.
Yeah. Like, this episode is the first time you had seen Genma using signs to talk. Although, honestly, I don't remember how quickly he started using signs. But that's just his thing.
Right. It's funny.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so far...
I've really been enjoying the show.
I'm very pleased with how this remake has gone. As a fan of the franchise for damn near 30 years now at this point, I feel like they're doing it the justice that it deserves. I'm really enjoying this, and I can't wait to see more. I just wonder how long it's going to run. Yeah, we'll find out eventually. All right, that would conclude week 3, and I can't wait for next week. Ryoga Hibiki finally shows up. So also don't forget the regular podcast, where we are doing weekly reviews of 3 other shows that are brand new this season. Suma Shogakusei ni Naru, Bloomy Burrow, and Orb on the movements of the Earth. Those episodes come out on Wednesday, while the Ranma episodes come out on Fridays.
Like, subscribe, follow.
Yep.
Go visit our other socials. Talk to us on Discord.
Yep.
Interact with us, please.
Comment, in the YouTube videos.
Steve likes having long-winded conversations on the the comment section.
On a lot of things. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you next time.